So in the previous part, we saw that the main thing that I always tell in my every portrait that I sketch is that don't use blending stumps on skin texture. But for this particular sketch of Lisa, I have used blending stump on skin textures also. And the main reason is that while using a blending stump, it gives you a more plain or darker look, because the main reason is that blending stumps in every portraits, most of the artists make mistake is that they don't sharpen their blending stumps, they don't clean their blending stumps, and if the layer a bit of blending stump is layer a bit of black or more dirty, it will give a darker look or the faded look on your faces or the portraits. That's why I always say that don't use blending stumps on skin texture. But for this particular sketch, I have blended or sharpened my blending stump so easy, and I have cleaned up my blending stumps. And the main purpose of using blending stump is that I want more realistic and more clean white look. More in previous parts, the skin textures was layer a bit dark or mid-tone dark, but not particular dark or the white, complete white. But for the sketching of Lisa, her skin tone is completely white and only smaller parts are where visible. If you are making watercolor portraits or color portraits, you can easily make skin color and you can easily apply skin color or any other parts so that it is visible. But for the sketching of black and white, which is just of pencil, it is more hard to make a complete white skin tone. But for that, you have to see where the shadows and highlights are going, as we discussed in previous part. Now, as you can see that the right hand side part of the Lisa is a little bit darker. If you can focus on the right hand side part of the nose and the eyes also, see where the details are going, and if you will apply more and more details to your sketches will look completely beautiful. Now for the remaining part of the face and the lips part, the main thing about lips is that upper part and lower part are a little bit distinguished, but in most of the portraits those are not distinguished parts, because the light source is most of the time on the front face or the upper part of the face, so the shadows going downwards or backwards, not on the right or left. But in this particular portrait, the lips are having layer a bit of shades also. So if you can focus on the reference picture, right hand side part, complete right hand side part of the lip, upper lip is little bit darker as compared to left hand side part. So see the difference between those smaller teeth which are visible, but her tongue is not visible, so just make a little bit of black part. You can also use 10B pencil for those completely black part. I have used charcoal pencil, and the main thing about charcoal pencil is that you cannot rub it easily, so I will recommend that use 10B pencil for completely black parts. Now using the first layer as a 2B pencil, right hand side part of the cheek of Lisa is layer a bit darker as compared to left hand side part, as we all know. But left hand side part making is layer a bit more hard as compared to right hand side part, because on the right hand side part we have just made a first layer as 2B pencil, blended it using a blending stump, then just use 3B pencil on the darker parts. But the difference between left hand side part and the right hand side part is that left side part is layer a bit more white, or the light is coming directly towards the left side part cheeks. So to make it look more and more white, most of artists will make this mistake, is that they will leave the part of the cheek completely white, or is equal to the remaining parts of the drawing paper or the ivory sheets. But the difference between that part and the main part that I am sketching is that use 2B pencil as a base layer in every part. If it is completely white or it is not completely white, just use the 2B pencil for those parts on the left hand side part, as you can see. And then for the second layer, use 3B pencil, but on the only parts which are a little bit more darker. But on the left hand side part of the Lisa cheek, it is not more darker as compared to right hand side part. So just use 2B pencil, just blend it using blending stump, or you can also use a mechanical, or you can also use a makeup brushes also, which is a softer one. Just use softer one on the left hand side part and just blend it. And now see the parts which are completely white. Zoom out your picture as much as you can and see where the complete white parts are visible. The middle part of the cheek is completely white. So for those parts, use your rubber and just rub those smaller parts which are completely white. Not every part of the cheek on the left hand side, but those middle part of the cheek which is completely white, use rubber and just rub it so that you can have those whiter part values also. In this way you can apply more and more skin tones or white tones on your skin textures also. Now for the final retouch, I am using mechanical pencil for darkening the smaller parts. Because I am using a A3 sheet, I cannot apply more and more details to my sketches. I can use more beautiful sketches also on my previous parts also. If you want this portrait in real time and if you want to see it on a real time, how I apply pressure on smaller parts, how I apply every part, how I make every part of the portraits, I have another channel which is Shwet Sketches 2.0, where I upload a complete 4 hour, 5 hour, 6 hour, 8 hour sketches. So you can check out that part also, or my channel that also. I will give the link on my description box. And if you want to learn it in Hindi language, I have another channel which is Shwet Sketches Hindi. You can go there too in my Hindi language. Now using a mechanical pencil, just darkening the smaller parts which are more visible, not applying more pressure, because applying more pressure to the smaller parts, it will leave it marks on my sketching pad or the main drawing paper that I am using. So not applying more pressure in any part, you can have those different or beautiful looks. Now for the remaining parts, you can see that the smaller parts which are more white are not completely white. From the reference picture you can see that the skin texture is completely white, but it is layer a bit more pinkish. But I am not using watercolors, right? So using watercolors you can apply more light and light values. But in pencil sketches, like there are only two options, just light color and the dark color. So you have to keep on focusing on the details that you see. And if you will not apply more and more details on your sketches will look completely like drawing. If you haven't make 5, 50 or 100 or 200 sketches, you cannot see the differences between 100 and 200 sketches. But after 250 sketches, you will see the result. See you in part 3. So that was all for this tutorial. If you have learned something from this video, subscribe and drop a like and comment down your question and queries regarding this tutorial. Meanwhile, take care of your loved ones too. Have an artistic day. Tattoos.